Hello, and you're all very welcome along to the latest Champ.ie podcast, Ireland's premier horse racing podcast in association with Boylesports, Gowran Park Racecourse, EJ Menswear and Shamrock Thoroughbreds.
As they race up the hill towards the finish, Hart the Herald here on Perry Pass has absolutely bolted up under Paul Townend. On Perry Pass won by wide margin. On the final 150 yards, it's Irish point for Marie National, who's coming with every stride. They're going to the line. Irish point, Marie National on the near side.
If you haven't already, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the Champ.ie YouTube channel, as it helps to get horse racing content out there to the wider audience. We look forward to reading all your hashtag 5cast selections in the comments section below. Enjoy the show.
Boylesports. Don't just bet, choose wisely.
Hello and welcome along to the latest episode of Champ.ie, of course, onto episode 15, and a very happy new year to one and all. Well, we're delighted to be back with you once again, and I suppose before we kick off on what we're going to do, Barry, it's been a busy Christmas with the new arrival, young Theo Doyle. Many congratulations to you and to Mrs. Doyle on the arrival, and I'm sure it's been a very, very busy few weeks.
In the words of Michael Dignan, Santa Claus is delivered, Jar. Theo Doyle arrived on Christmas Eve. It's been a busy couple of weeks, Dave, and I suppose people have been asking, where is the Champ.ie podcast gone? The road to Cheltenham will be back, of course, on Monday. We look forward to it. And I suppose all roads will be leading now to the Goffs Thyestes Chase next week. We were down, I suppose, golfing. Even with the new baby, Dave, we managed to get golfing yesterday, which was, I think, a big bonus. It was great to play with Desi Scal, of course, legendary commentator. And we'll be hearing clips from Desi. And, of course, plenty more guests on the Champ.ie podcast next week, building up to the Goffs Thyestes Chase, which is, of course, next Thursday. And you can, of course, get your tickets on the Gowran Park website. So we really look forward to it. But this week, the match, it's Energumene versus Jonbon, and really looking forward to discussing this. Still one of life's mysteries, Dave, how Energumene got bet by Shishkin at Ascot a couple of seasons ago.
Yes, maybe so, but it's a cracking show we've lined up for you. Energumene v Jonbon. We'll be discussing both sides of that battle. We've got you to get involved in this week's show with the 5cast selections. We've got a very special guest this week in Sara Bradstock, and of course her big hopeful Mr. Vango runs to the Peter Marsh this week. And of course the 5cast races we look at, of course, up on screens in a moment. Goffs Thyestes Chase, AntePost markets, we'll have a look. Stephen Thorne got 5 runners at Dundalk on Friday night. We'll hopefully get a winner from him, and weekend best bets as well to come. Right, Barry, let's kick off, because we have 5 races to look at, 3 at Ascot and 2 at Haydock. The handicap chase, Ascot 250 at Ascot, 332 is the Clarence House, 2 from Haydock, the Peter Marsh, the handicap hurdle at 305. But first, right, let's get straight down into it. Clarence House Chase, grade 1. It's the third race, race 3. We're going to start off with first, the 332. Barry, this is a case of a real battle you expect, I think, on Saturday. Jonbon and Energumene, faultless, both of them so far in the season. The blue and white scarf suggests that you're in the Energumene camp again for Saturday. And your thoughts on the big one?
Wrong favourite, Dave. I think wrong favourite. I mean, 2-time champion chase winner that peaked at a rating of 176. I just think Energumene has been very much disrespected. And I suppose the ground is going to dry out. I think that's been documented. And we're not due very much rain between now and Saturday afternoon. And I suppose those who like to throw stones at Energumene like to mention the ground conditions and the ground drying out. But if you actually look, I suppose his bare form, he would a point-to-point on good ground. We've been saying that for years. And he's 6 from 6, where there's been yielding or good to yielding in the ground description. So 6 from 6 is unbeaten when there's been good or yielding ground in the description. So I just think, look, his peak rating, 176. I mean, if he shows up, I know he's 11 years of age, but he's a lightly raced 11-year-old, David. And you have to think going, I suppose, Ascot, small field where he can dominate, going right-handed. Did show a tendency to jump out a little bit to his right last time in the hilly way at Cork. And the form has worked out well. Bambridge, obviously, going on to win the King George. He was given Energumene a race, albeit he was given plenty of weight away down in Cork. But I just think if you look at Jonbon, the type of opposition he's been racing against, anytime he's run into what I would call a real superstar, he has struggled. Now, looking at his record, look, he's 8 grade 1 wins over fences in his career. Both Energumene and Jonbon It's set up lovely because both are 11 from 13 over fences in their careers. But Jonbon, 2 years younger, has had 3 more starts in his career. Energumene is a very, very likely race, the 11-year-old. And I believe, Dave, he could be the first horse since Badsworth Boy to win 3 champion chases. I think he'll take all the beating. And 9-4, fill your boots.
Yeah, I think Jonbon is going to be very hard to beat. I thought there was lots to like about his 2 runs this season. The Henderson stable is in tremendous form. He's banging in winners. Horses are just beginning to hit top form. Nicky Henderson's yard. I think Jonbon is the real deal this season. I think it's going to be a tremendous race. I think possibly the betting should be closer than what it is. 6-4 on with Boylesports about Jonbon. And as you said, you can get 2-1, 9-4 about Energumene. Probably, I think it's a closer match than that, but it has a cracking look to it. And I just think Jonbon Barry will be the better of the two personally on Saturday.
It's big boy school for Jonbon, that is for sure this weekend. But look, I suppose you have to say he's such a professional animal, Jonbon. His form away from Cheltenham is very, very good. But I just think the key piece here, Dave, is the small field going right-handed at Ascot. I just think there's every possibility that Energumene could get him out of his comfort zone early. And despite the ground being good, as we mentioned, his form, if you look at the stats on paper, is actually decent enough on good ground. And I'm delighted they're taking their chance, and I look forward to it. I'm very much keeping the faith. It's green and gold versus blue, Dave. It has the look of a Dublin versus Kerry game in the 70s.
Boylesports. Don't just bet. Choose wisely.
Yeah, moving on to the 2:15, of course, at Ascot. Barry, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, 2:15. It's handicap chase over the 2 mile and 5 furlongs. And Cotmask, I thought, was the interesting one here, Dave, after only getting £3 from the handicapper after winning at Ascot over the course last time, and has decent form around Ascot. His jumping can be a little bit of a question mark, the Gary Moore runner, but I just think stepping up to 2.5 here might just help his jumping out, ease the pressure a little bit on his jumping. And look, he's 2 from 2. His record of January is actually quite decent, 2 from 2 in his career at this time of the year. And I thought he was, you mentioned Scarface just off air to me, Dave, and the Tizard team are going quite well. And you'd have to think he was closing at the line against Cotmask at Ascot last time. So you'd have to think a step up might suit him as well. But I just think he was going I think he won better than what the winning margin suggested, Cotmask. I thought he won a shade snug, and just £3 off 133. I thought could definitely be still very, very competitive off that. He's 4-1. He's come in for money. I think I'm going to keep it simple here. Cotmask for me for the Gary Moore team. Which have you come down on here?
Yeah, I thought it's a very, very interesting race. Obviously, Cotmask is hugely appealing in the race, but I just thought maybe Joe Tizard's runner, Brendan Powell, Scarface. I think there's plenty of improvement still to come. 5 wins from 24 career starts, and I think at around 5-1 could be a cracking each way bet in that 2:15 contest. Right, let's move on, because we've got also at Ascot this weekend, we've got this big handicap hurdle, Barry, 2 mile 3 furlongs. It is a Class 2 contest at 2:50.
I think it was clipped up on our socials after we previewed Altobelli when he was due to run at Sandown, and I said he was possibly one of the best handicapped horses in the UK over hurdles. And I'm going to stick with that, because off 132, Dave, I just think he remains well treated. And I think the Harry Fry team would love a bit more rain. But if you actually look at his form on decent ground, it actually doesn't read all that bad either. He's only had 7 starts over hurdles in his career. This will just be his 5th start in handicap company, off 132. I struggle to see how he got beaten last time at Doncaster. He's obviously been given £2 for that second place effort last time. And not keen. I'm not overly keen when horses go up without winning in the ratings, but I think he has certainly scope to progress off his mark, and stepping up 3.5 furlongs. 3.5 furlongs here, should I say. I think that's definitely going to suit him. The cheap pieces go on. So for Harry Fry, has a decent enough record around Ascot as well with his runners. 6-1 Altobelli. I could see that shortened up. Bo Zenith, that was a real eye catcher at Cheltenham last time. Really caught the eye in the red hat for Ollie Harris, staying on well at the end. And of course, the race won by the good doctor, one that got away, I think, on everyone on that occasion. And Bo Zenith was an eye catcher. But Altobelli, there's more to come. I'd be worried about the bounce factor for Bo Zenith. He was off the track for quite some time prior to that third place effort at Cheltenham last time. So Altobelli, 6-1 to pick.
Yeah, 6-1 to pick Bo Zenit, I think, is very, very interesting in that contest as well. Right, we've two more to look at, which are from Haydock. But before we do that, we are going to hear, of course, about the Goffs Thyestes Day. It's coming up next Thursday, the 23rd of January. And Barry had a great whole day out yesterday playing some golf, and he caught up one of Ireland's most famous commentators.
Favourite Thyestes winner of all time?
Brown lad.
Rory.
My Murphy.
Oh, Desi Scan in the hole. Yes, it is. Looking out at Gowran Park here, we're obviously here in the clubhouse ahead of the Goffs Thyestes Chase and the Classic, of course, the Golf Classic today. You're a big golf man. But just on the Thyestes itself, you must have recorded, or must have commentated. How many did you commentate on over the years?
Well, I wouldn't know the exact number, but I was probably in the region of 35, maybe, probably a few more, I'm not too sure, but there were many of them anyway.
I suppose standout winners of the race. Jack Adam was a good winner once upon a time.
Well, the one you mentioned now, I think it was probably one of the best performances I've ever seen jump-wise.
Gowran Park Racecourse, the premier racetrack in the southeast of Ireland, is located on the outskirts of Kilkenny City. Gowran Park is your number one choice for corporate days out, stag and hen party events, and an overall great local racing experience. Known as the race that stops the county, the famous Goffs Thyestes Chase 2025 takes place on Thursday the 23rd of January. With packed crowds expected once again this January, you can book your early bird tickets online today. Visit gowranpark.ie online, click the link in the Champ.ie podcast video description, or scan the QR code on screen to purchase right now. Eddie and the team look forward to welcoming you to Gowran Park this winter.
150 yards to go, Glengooley, and ain't that a shame from Angels Gone? Ain't that a shame is going on to win the Goffs Thyestes, pulling out every stop from Glengooley.
Yeah, we were coming on the charge down the back nine, Dave, with 4 birdies in a row, and I have to compliment Desi's golfing skills. But it'll be all about the racing next Thursday, of course, the Goffs Thyestes Chase. We look forward to be down there on course doing the morning nine show prior to racing. But still good offers on the tickets on the Gowran Park website, Dave. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a great day out and looking forward to next Thursday. Well, and best of luck to Eddie and the team as well with that one. Right, we're going to move on to the Haydock Premier Handicap. It is the Peter Marsh
to mention, Dave, just to cut in on that, Dave. The Goffs Thyestes preview night, of course, we ran it last year. Just a reminder as well that our show next week is actually going to come on Tuesday, and it is the Goffs Thyestes Chase Preview 2025, and lots of local guests from the southeast as well, with some real good guests last year, of course. Pat Foley of Denoli fame. We had Desi Scal himself. Lar Byrne, of course, won the race with Total Recall winning owner, and some really interesting guests, of course, once again. So stay tuned on the socials, and we look forward to next week's show coming a little bit early on Tuesday, the Goffs Thyestes Chase 2025 preview.
Yeah, before we hear from our special guest this week, Sara Bradstock, we're going to look at the big Peter Marsh Handicap Chase, where she's got a big chance with Mr. Vango. And Barry, it's going to be, I think, hard to beat Mr. Vango on the 3 mile one. What are your thoughts on it?
A lot of people have this race down, even though it is a handicap around Haydock over the extended 3 miles. I think they'll have it down as an A versus B contest. But Mr. Vango, for me, getting £26 off Royal Pagaille. Look, speaking about Royal Pagaille, I'd be surprised if he actually ever finishes a race again after the attritional conditions last time at Haydock in the, of course, the Betfair Chase. And he has to shoulder 12 stone here. Mr. Vango, we were both raving about us, was heading into Sandown in the London National. And, you know, it was a big ask to go into a race like that fresh. And the jockey booking, of course, Nico de Boyville won't be on this occasion. It'll be Jack Tudor, but 10 stone 2. Right down the bottom of the weights, as I said, getting £26 off Royal Pagaille. He's been crying out for heavy ground. We'll hear from Sara. Obviously, that's the key to this horse. He's a real galloper. He handles testing ground. And I'd say he'll absolutely relish Haydock. And speaking off air, Dave, you've made this one nap pick, I think, of the weekend.
Yes, I love this horse. And I remember back in Mr. Vango when he won by 60 lengths. And he's a cracking horse. But it's time now to hear from the trainer, Sara Bradstock, because she'll give us more insight to his chances.
Yeah, so delighted to be joined on the Champ.ie podcast this week by Sara Bradstock, of course, since I suppose 10 years on now from the triumph of Coneygree, Sara, in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Talk us through that day, because that was absolutely magical.
magical and so stressful that I actually can remember very little of it. I've obviously watched it a lot of times since, but it was the fulfilment of an incredible dream. We bought the mare for a couple of grand to breed something for my dear old dad in his retirement, and so to find yourself winning the Gold Cup was just incredible, really.
And the horse himself, I suppose, Coneygree, look, jumped for fun, galloped, travelled, handled testing ground, but to run the horse in the Cheltenham Gold Cup as a novice, that was a really brave decision by the team.
Well, he'd always been very fragile. He'd had 3 or 4 stress fractures by that stage, and after he'd annihilated a really good horse in the race at Newbury that's now the Denman Chase, it seemed to me a no-brainer, really. Why would you, if we'd won the Sun Alliance, which is what the novice race was then, easily we'd have thought, why didn't we run in the Gold Cup? And we got beat. But he was never going to be, there's never going to be longevity to him. And he was there, he was ready, and we thought we could win it. So why not, really?
I suppose, how do you think he compares to Gold Cup winners over the last 10 years? I mean, what did you think was his biggest attribute as a racehorse?
This is his focus. You know, he wouldn't have had the gears of the great horses like Corto Star and Best Mate, but he had a desire to win second to none and a complete focus. Everybody who said you can't run a novice in the Gold Cup, well, there were two big issues about that. Number one, he can't read the papers. He may be very clever. He didn't know it was the Gold Cup. He was going to do the same thing. But 2, he'd lived a lot. He'd done a lot of rehab. We're a small yard. They're not going out just follow my leader. He knew how to gallop and jump, and that's what he did.
Speaking of galloping and jumping, I mean, you have a horse at the moment, Sara, that I really want to talk to you about, and it's entered up, of course, in the Peter Marsh Chase at Haydock at the weekend. Mr. Vango, a 60-length winner of the Devon National last season, ran a course at Cheltenham, finished 3rd in the National Hunt Chase. How is he, I suppose, and how does he compare as a racehorse, I suppose, to Coneygree? I'm not saying he has the class, but how does he compare? Is there any comparison?
The only comparison is that the point about him is his stamina and his jumping. Coneygree did have another gear to this fellow. This fellow is bless his cotton socks. He's actually quite slow, but he just does really keep going. So if you get the heavy ground, and he's great big horse, he's sort of 18 hands and very strong. If you get the heavy ground, he will plough on when the others can't. So, I mean, you know, there's a good race in him on the right conditions.
Looking, I suppose, at last year's season with him, because obviously he won in February, and it was a pretty quick turnaround to the National Hunt Chase. Was that always the plan, Cheltenham, or was it a case that we're going to roll the dice after Exeter?
It was slightly, I mean, it was always in the back of our minds, the National Hunt Chase. But again, it's very much, you've got to be opportunistic with him because he does need the heavy ground. If the ground's beautiful, good ground, they're always going to take him off his feet. So wherever the ground is, we will go. Because as you know, you don't get that all the time.
3 mile, 4 furlongs, yeah.
Decisions are made with it.
He was rated 135 going into the London National, and that was his first run of the season. So, good training performance, Sara. I mean, to win first time up and to do it like he done, you must have been impressed at Sandown.
Yeah, he blessed him. He did. You know, Nico gave him a great ride, and Nico said he was tired, much more tired than the horse. And we had him ready because we don't have many horses, so we can know exactly every step they're taking. And we knew, just like I said, that if you find a race where the conditions are right for him, there's no point needing the race because the next one comes up and the ground's too fast or the trip's too short or the opposition is too fast. So when things are right, we've got to have him ready.
The ground is going to be testing at the weekend, currently heavy, of course, at Haydock. He was also entered up in the Welsh National. Was the plan always to come to Haydock instead, or were you considering?
This was coming a little bit quick. We'd like to have run him before Sandown, but the ground didn't come. And then he does give his all, and he just wasn't quite sparking again. And the Welsh National in the end would probably have been slightly too good ground for him anyway. So again, we've just been looking for something with the right ground. This probably isn't quite far enough. But we're going to have good testing ground, so hopefully they won't take him off his feet, and he will still be going at the end.
Confident? Are you confident there's still more to come off 139?
So I hope so, in the right conditions. I think he proved in the Devon National, if you get some really heavy ground, he is an exceptional flower honour. You know, the others can't, and he just keeps going.
From Dundalk to Longchamp, from the Galway races to the Breeders' Cup, Shamrock Thoroughbreds have taken owners all over the world.
Tiger Bell in front, holds them. Late on the scene is Dawn Charger storming home, but Tiger Bell in front and won.
Coming through the centre, Laugh a Minute with a strong challenge on this Laugh a Minute, who goes on in the closing stages to win by a length and a half. Laugh a Minute from Fiscal Roots.
But it's Harry's Bar repelling the late challenge of the stable companion Dream today, and Harry's Bar makes it 6-course wins.
Check out shamrockthoroughbreds.com or click the link in the Champ.ie podcast video description to learn more about new racehorse ownership opportunities.
Yes, we're delighted to be joined by Stephen Torn of Shamrock Thoroughbreds. Stephen, it's great to have you on. And before I go, thanks a million for sending us on a bit of merchandise. That if the hat fits, as they say, and it very much does. Great to have you on, and a happy new year to you. I suppose we'll start off firstly by horses are running really well, and there's five of them to head for Dundalk this Friday night, Stephen.
Many happy returns to you all, lads. Thanks very much for having me on again. And looking forward to tomorrow night. Horses continuing good spirits and in good shape there with the first, second and third there last Friday from the 3 runners we ran. So they're all in very good shape there, and they had a little rest period there through the Christmas sort of a week, 10 days off, and just to freshen them up and get them back moving again. And look, they're still running their eyeballs out for us, which is great.
Now, 5 of them tomorrow night. Dream today, High Time You Won, Volatile Analyst, Shoot to Kill, and Perfect Judgment. And as Matt Chapman used to do on his programme on a Sunday morning, best chance of a winner is what we're looking for tomorrow night, Stephen, of the 5.
We've plenty there with chances anyway. Perhaps the second last race, the mile 0 to 85, we've got 2 bullets in there. Perfect Judgment, who won there before Christmas. He got a 4-pound hike, and I think there's still a little bit left in the tank with him. Shoot to Kill had a cracker last week as well, behind the other stablemate, Say If You Will. So he was staying on well, and the horses, I wouldn't usually back one up one week after another, but that Shoot to Kill horse has been in great form all week. So we'll have a great chance of winning that with one of them, I hope. It looks the most winnable race of the on the card for us. But look, we'll have chances there. Dream today in the sprint. He actually won this race last year for us off a mark of 83, I think it was. So he's 7 pound lower. We have the booking of Jamie Powell on board. Small field. I think if there's enough pace in the race, he's a horse that likes to plenty of pace to aim at. So he will be a big runner in there tomorrow night. Off that rating, it's his lowest career rating. Obviously, he's not getting any younger, this horse, but he's due a win. He's due a win, Dream today, and I think he'll run a big race. Volatile Analyst then in the 0 to 77 furlong race. I think when we done the stable tour, I said to Barry that he was one of the best handicapped horses we have in the stable at the moment. Obviously a former Premier Handicap winner and listed winner in the UK. And we still have yet to win with this horse, but he's ran, placed on numerous occasions. We're changing up the headgear tomorrow, blinkers on and tongue tie applied. So we're throwing lock, stock and barrel at him tomorrow to see can we reinvigorate this horse, because he has talent. He's working very well, and we've got the booking of Jack Carney, who's rode a winner for us there recently on Shoot to Kill there before Christmas, and he's a very good rider. He'll take the 5 pound off his back, and he's got a great drawn Saul 3, so he'll have a mighty chance as well tomorrow. And High Time You Won then our old warrior there in the 7 furlong rated race, the 7 furlong rated race there. Little bit sort of turned into a sprint the last day. We fancied him, he went off favourite. It kind of the home turn, it really did turn into a dash, and he just got caught for a turn of foot. But we're looking through it there. There seems to be plenty of pace in this race tomorrow. So smallish field should suit him. And if they go plenty quick, I think he'll have a live chance as well. So we've plenty of live chances tomorrow.
Yes,
can I cut in, Steve? Just Dave wanted to ask Stephen with a view to 2025. Obviously, speaking to you on the channel and following those who have been following the blog. 3 young horses, I suppose, that you're looking forward to this year. Wizard of Odds, obviously, we saw him at Dundalk, Gleneagle Bay, and obviously Artful Approach as well. I know Santa Claus has delivered plenty of shares on him over the Christmas period, and I believe he's sold out now.
Yeah, he's fully sold out, and we've just. Obviously a very nice horse. We're going to look forward to a Galway winner and a festival winner this year and last year, and looking forward to him if he can improve from 3 to 4. He could be Premier Handicap material later on the season. And they're just limbering up now. We've a couple of nice turf horses, as you mentioned, Gleneagle Bay. I think a lot of lads would be very grateful to have a horse like him in their first season, and I'm gifted to have a horse like him going into my first full year as a trainer, and hopefully he'll represent me well. He will be entered for both the English and the Irish Lincolnshire, and touch wood, the prep will go well, and we'll see how things are shaping up there end of February, early March with him. But yeah, really looking forward to him, and we have some nice 2-year-olds as well in the background there. Yeah, still in pre-training. We've got a couple of early ones in now, but just a nice fresh bunch of horses. Looking forward to the season ahead.
You mentioned the Lincoln and maybe potentially one for the Irish Lincoln packaged up with a 2-year-old. Let's see the video clip and you can tell us about it in a moment.
Up on the stand side, Scholarship between them, but it's Independent Expert as Ramiro fades. Independent Expert from Scholarship on the far side. Independent Expert gets there by half a length.
It's on the final 150 yards. It's still physique from Independent Expert, who's trying to go by on the outside as these two go towards the line. Independent Expert has timed it to perfection.
Interesting.
Yep. So we're describing this package as proven power meets untapped potential. So thought it was a great name. We're packaging a form horse with an unraced 2-year-old, precocious 2-year-old. She looks. So the farm horse, Independent Expert. She's a solid filly there. She won first time up in Cork this year, Killarney. And she ran her heart out in the Irish Cambridgeshire, finished 3rd, beating a head and a neck. She's got great curl form, and this filly will get into the bottom of the Irish Lincoln and will be alive. We'll have a live chance. So likely to prep straight for that, and then we'll see how the season goes. But she'll be campaigning those nice nice handicaps, and there'll be plenty of fillies handicaps throughout the season for her also. Be a nice programme of races for her. And then the Arded filly we bought at the September sales in Tattersalls. The dam is 2 from 2 with 2-year-olds that she's produced. So it's quite a precocious, speedy pedigree. And this filly looks, she looks like a racehorse, and she's a good action filly so far. She's doing everything right, good temperament, good attitude, and that's all we want to see so far. And we'll learn more as the weeks and months go by now. But looking forward to both fillies, and they're live now on all our social media channels, website, shamrockthoroughbreds.com. And you'll get all the details there. You can drop me an email and contact me directly if you wish. All the details are there on the website and social media channels.
Excellent, Stephen. Well, it's great to have you on as always, and we look forward to seeing you banging in maybe a win or two this Friday night in Dundalk. But for now, thanks a million for joining us.
Cheers, boys.
Yeah, Stephen Thorne, great to have him on the show, and a big thank you to all our sponsors, of course, on Champ.ie. We've got Shamrock Thoroughbreds, EJ Minswear, Boylesports, our betting partner, and Gowran Park Racecourse. Barry, one more race to look at, which we're going to look at the final race in the 5-cast this week. That is the 3:05, the 3-mile handicap hurdle at Haydock.
This is probably the most tricky race we've looked at, Dave, on the show thus far. And I suppose Inox Allen was one that I thought was overpriced at 14-1 for the banging formless in the Russell team at the moment. Just looking at her strike rate, she's just short of 30% at the moment. And this, you'd have to imagine Inox Allen is going to make up into, a fine staying chaser in time, but reverts to hurdles here. I thought it was interesting after running over fences last time and unexposed over the 3 miles. It's only had one run, I believe, over 3 miles thus far, and has proven form on soft and heavy ground as well, which you're going to need, as we've seen at Haydock this weekend. Left-handed as well, I think, is a decent angle. Has won twice left-handed in Allen, and unexposed in handicap company over this type of trip. Thought the price was too big. So in Allen, I think Derek Fox on board for Lucinda Russell, one of 3 runners at Haydock over the course of the weekend for her. So stable in form and too big a price, I thought, in Allen. But lots happening, Dave, all across the grounds this weekend.
Absolutely. Tune in the Box, I thought, might run a big race there as well. Right, we are going to head into our next ad break. And right after that, we'll be taking a look at the AntePost market ahead of the Goffs Thyestes Chase next Thursday.
Yes, so hello, Barry Doyle from the Champ.ie podcast, Ireland's premier horse racing podcast. I'm here with my co-host, David Byrnes, and we're here in Sligo Town, David, in EJ Menswear and EJMenswear.com. Fantastic season ahead. EJ has kindly partnered up with us to be the men's fashion partner with Champ.ie for the season. And David, we're suited and booted. You're looking sharp.
Yeah, well, thanks very much. And this fantastic bundle and this outfit we're wearing is costing $2.99. It sets you up beautifully for the racing season ahead, which includes Leopardstown at Christmas, Thyestes Day at Gowran Park, and of course, if you want to go even bigger, you can get togged out for the Cheltenham and Entry festivals later on in the season.
Absolutely, and of course, check out the Champ.ie podcast right throughout the season, Mondays and Thursdays, and look at the offer, the tailored bundle for the racing season, $2.99, blazer, shirt, chino, socks and shoes. What's not to like, lads? Check out EJMenswear.com to find out all the racing offers.
Yes, EJ Menswear, and Happy New Year to all of the lads down in Sligo, and hopefully they've had a very, very good Christmas. Right, Barry, what about the Thyestes? How is the market shaping up for the big one next Thursday?
Yeah, it's as I said, we're going to be previewing it in a lot more detail, David, of course, next Tuesday, the Goffs Thyestes Chase preview 2025. But the AntePost market at the moment, I suppose, Boylesports 6-1. Yeah, man, at the top of the market. That's been the money horse for Gavin Cromwell. Had a 4-timer, of course, at Fairy House last weekend as we're recording, and banging form at the moment. Yeah, man. Yeah, it was a winner, of course, at Haydock last February, and just interesting profile for the race. Down in Gowran, the grounds, even though we have had sunshine, it was sunny on for golf for our golfing, of course, yesterday as we're recording. I think the ground still will be testing, and Yemen, of course, has won at Haydock. Interesting profile, 6-1. Nick Rocket, I thought could that be the mount at Paul Town? That's priced up at 7-1. Unexposed type going into the Boylesports Irish Grand National last season, looked on an attractive mark, and I'd say that could be the one, maybe potentially, that Paul Town will ride in the race. Will do. Where it all began is close enough in the betting as well. Both 8-1. Glenn Gooley placed in the race last season. That's priced up at 12-1. Not going to give you the winner of the Goffs Thyestes Chase 2025, Dave, just yet. But I will give you one that I have a view on potentially for the race next season. 2026. Verdon Place. Put it in the tracker now. The McManus Hoose, Pat Foley. We saw it winning, of course, at Navan 2 starts ago. Ran third in a novice chase at Fairy House last weekend. I just think this horse, if it gets in off a nice mark next season, one more win, I think, would guarantee it to get in off a nice mark potentially next season, or get it up to a mark where it could compete off a low weight. I think Verdon Place is one for the Goffs Thyestes Chase 2026, but we'll save the 2025 winner till next Tuesday.
Yeah, let's get next week's one out of the way for us, Barry. Right, we're going to come on to the best bets before we take the show to an end this week. And, well, Mr. Vango is my nap. We heard from our special guest, Sara Bradstock. I think it'll love conditions. I think it'll be very hard beat on Saturday. And that's my nap pick for the weekend. Barry, what do you like across the weekend?
Well, I just think, do you know what? 9-4 Energumene. I'm going to nap it, Dave. I just think it's too big. The price difference between the two, I think, is absolutely massive, given what Energumene has already achieved. It's big by school, as mentioned, for Jonbon. I think Energumene will dominate in a 4-runner race. The good ground, good to soft ground is not going to be a worry for me. although plenty of people will be throwing stones at Energumene, given the ground drying out. I'm going to stick with it at 9-4 for the nap. And Altobelli for the next best. Let's keep the faith. 6-1 at a decent price, I thought. And Derry Hasten Paddy runs at Windsor on Friday. That was, we mentioned this in the Russell stable form. Unbeaten still over hurdles. Fine strapping type, I think, to go chasing eventually. But over 3 miles, over hurdles. This fella could be the next high senior. Derry Hasten Paddy, priced up at the moment at 5-1. I think is also a joint next best this weekend, Dave, for me. So they're my bets. Energumene, Derry Hasten Paddy, and Altobelli off 132. Let's keep the faith. They're my bets this weekend. What about you?
Yeah, as I said, Mr. Vango, I'm just going all in on him this weekend. That's my one bet from across the cards. Elsewhere, I do agree with you. Altobelli, I think, could have an outstanding chance as well this weekend, but it's all Mr. Vango. It'll be all beans or no toast there. Whatever way you'd like to put it after that race on Saturday, Barry. So looking forward to a cracking weekend of racing. And don't forget, next Tuesday, of course, we have the very special preview around the Goffs Thyestes Chase coming. That's on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, whatever you back over the weekend. From Barry and I, we'll talk to you next Tuesday. And not forgetting as well, the road to Cheltenham, of course, back on Monday. And from Barry and myself, have a great weekend.